In this video, I'm going to demonstrate how to use the FollowMe tool. The FollowMe tool is very useful in making baseboard and crown molding and anything else that you want to take a profile and move it along a path. So we've got our rustic cabin model here, and I'm going to turn off all the level 2 floors. So I did a click and a shift click, selecting all the level 2 layers, and I'll just click on any one of those to turn that off. And now we can look inside our living room and you can see that I have no baseboard along the walls, but I do have trim around the doors. So I want to run baseboard from this trim around the corner and to this piece of trim. So it's really a two-step process. The first step is to make a profile, and the second step is to make a path. And then you execute the FollowMe tool to move the profile along the path. So I'm going to zoom in along this existing vertical trim, and I'm going to take the rectangle tool and make a rectangle that is 5.5 inches tall and 5/8 of an inch thick. Now I don't want to pull this out like I would normally do. I'm just going to make a profile here. Next, I'm going to get the tape measure tool and I'm going to come up 1/2 inch, and I'll kind of use that as a guide to make a semicircle here. So I'm going to grab the 2-point arc tool and I'm going to click here, click there, and then go out to the edge. And then I will get the line tool, come in here and straight down, and then the erase tool, and now I've got a completed profile. Now if I pulled this with a push-pull tool, you'll see what I'm going to get for a baseboard, and that looks good. But with push-pull, I can only go to this corner, I can't go around the corner, and I can't miter the corner. But the FollowMe tool is going to allow us to do that. So we've made our profile. Because we're going to use this profile again, I'm going to double click on it and right click, make it a group, and then move a copy of it out into the room so that we don't have to make that again. Now when using the FollowMe tool, it won't work on a group, so we actually have to explode this group. That's another reason for making a copy. So I'm going to explode the group. So that's the first part. Second part is to make lines along the path that you want to move the profile. So I'm making a line here, and then I'm going to this other piece of door molding and clicking there. So now I've got to select those two lines. So I'm going to click here and shift click here, and you can see the lines and you can see the profile. So now all I have to do is go to the FollowMe tool and just hover over this profile and click, and now the profile gets stretched all the way along the path, and I've got my nice baseboard. But you may notice that it's fairly dark looking. So what happened there was the back side of the profile got pulled out. So to fix that, I'm going to go to my select tool. I'm going to triple click on that baseboard, right click, and reverse faces. And while I've got the whole thing selected, I'm going to go ahead and make it a group. But if I click off of it, you can now see that I've got a nice pattern baseboard. All right, so I want to do the same over here. And I saved my profile. Let me get out from inside my wall. And I'm going to move the profile, over here. I'll actually make a copy of it in case we need to use it a third time. So now I want to rotate my profile. First I'm going to make sure it's aligned with the bottom of the floor. Let me move it over here. And I'm going to get the rotate tool. And I'm going to rotate that 45 degrees. 90 degrees, I should say. And then move that into the corner. So again, this is a group, so I'm going to click on it and explode so that the Follow Me tool will work properly. And now I'm going to get my line tool and click here. Click in the corner. Oops, kind of got lost in the wall there. Click in this corner. Click here, here, and we'll butt it right into the ladder. So just to make sure we have all the proper lines drawn, I'm going to hide the level 1 floor and walls. So there's the floor and the walls hidden. And I'm actually going to go ahead and hide this as well. So now you can see our profile, and it's a little bit easier to select. So I'm shift clicking, I should have said path. I'm shift clicking on all the members of the path. It really doesn't matter in what order. And you can see our profile here. So without the walls being put back, you'll be able to see what happens here a little easier. So I've got my path selected. I go to my Follow Me tool and I click on the profile. And you can see that our baseboard got drawn around the corner, around this corner, and around this little wall here. So I'm going to unhide the walls and the floor. And you can see that it got reversed on us again. So I'm going to get the select tool, triple click on it, reverse faces, right click on it, and make it a group. All right. So let's do this last little section here going into the kitchen. So I want to go from this vertical trim into this corner, around there, and actually turn the corner and dead edit into this refrigerator. So we've got our profile in the room here. I will move that into position. This is the last time we're using it, so I didn't make a copy. And I put it in position there, right click and explode it. Now I simply have to draw my path, so I get my line tool. I think I hit another hotkey that gives me hidden lines. And I'm not sure what that hotkey is, so I'm going to zoom out here. Okay. So by clicking on my scene tab, it reestablished the scene that I had, and I no longer have those hidden lines, so I'm back in business. Okay, so I'm going to click here with my line tool, draw a line down into the corner there. I click out here towards the kitchen, click. Now I'm going around this wall, so I click again, and then I'm going to stop it right here at the edge of the fridge. So I'm still along the bottom of the floor, but I'm referencing the top of the fridge, and I stop right there. So now I should be able to select this line. It is selected, that's blue. So I shift click on this line, shift click on this one, and shift click here. Okay, so our path is selected. Our profile is ungrouped right here. And I go to the Follow Me tool and click on the profile. This time the surfaces do not need to be reversed. They came out white. And if we look carefully in the kitchen without getting lost in a wall, you'll see it stopped right up by the refrigerator where we wanted it to stop. Okay. So I'm going to triple click on this and group it. Now, If we wanted to do crown molding, let's move into the kitchen carefully and see if we can do a little bit of crown molding. So we could go along this path and this path. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a section so that we can actually view this from below. So I'm going to get my section tool. I want it on the blue plane, so I click there. And you can see some of the sections that exist from the last lesson. So I'm going to move this up pretty high in the kitchen. So now we can kind of get in there and see what's going on. And I'm going to actually turn the section planes off because they have the effect of kind of dimming the display. So we're going to run some molding, some crown molding along this line and along this line, and actually just dead-ended into the cabinet. I know that's not a good idea, but just to show you how to do some crown molding. So the hardest thing really is making the profile. So I'm just going to do something by eye here. So just something fairly random here. And I'm going to get a curve and kind of curve that up. So I'm going to go straight and do a little curve there. So that's our profile. It's pretty ugly looking, but let's make sure we close it in. That's where it wasn't closed there. Okay. Now I should be able to push-pull that. So that's what our crown molding is going to look like. Not a great job in the profile, but just to show you, you could make any profile you like here. Okay, so now I've got my profile. It's exploded. I mean, it's not grouped. And then I draw my line. The hardest thing here is going to be doing this while not getting caught in a wall. But we're going to use the undo camera view if we do get caught. So there's one line is created, and we zoom around here and I make my other line. So now I just have to select these two lines. Those are my path lines. Oops. So I'm going to click here on the first one, and that is selected. A little hard to see, but it is. And that one is too. So now I got to zoom out and find my path. I'm sorry, find my profile. Okay, back out of the walls. Okay, so there's my profile. So I've got the path selected, and I'll go to the Follow Me tool, hover in the profile, and you see that our crown molding got reversed. So I will triple click, and I will reverse faces, and also make it a group. And now let's turn off our section, and let's just manually navigate inside here. Go inside the kitchen, and you can see that we've got some crown molding. Very nice. So the Follow Me tool can also be used for making foundations. And foundations are pretty straightforward, but if you have a house with a lot of bump outs, Follow Me really speeds up the process. So this is the model that we used for the solar animation. I'm going to hide the ground plane, and I'm just going to make a profile of a stem wall. So I'm going to come down here, press the up arrow key to lock into the vertical axis. Actually, I want to lock into the green axis. So here's my profile. Let's make that 8 inches wide. So I'm going to drag a guideline 8 inches in this direction, and let's do 48 in the other direction. So this rectangle has not been grouped yet, so I'm just going to move it. I'm just going to move parts of it right along the axis so I can resize it. So now I've got a rectangle that's 8 by 48. And then I'm going to come out with a guideline, say 8 inches in this direction and 8 inches in this direction, and down, say 12 inches. So that's going to be our footing. So I'll draw a rectangle there and then erase that line. And now we can kind of double click on that, move it in line with the building. Another thing I'm going to do is move this along the wall. And the purpose for that is if you start with a profile right in the corner, you sometimes get, sometimes it doesn't wrap all the way around on itself. So there's our profile. And now what I'm going to do is draw my path. So I'm simply going to draw lines around the exterior base of this building. I'm just clicking in every corner. And one more here. Now I'm going to click and shift click. I'm holding down that shift key and clicking on these lines to add to the selection. So that looks like I got them all. Just pan around the building. So I've selected all the line segments in my path. I've got my profile drawn already. So I go to Follow Me and I click in my profile, and there it generated our foundation. The surfaces need to be reversed, so I will triple click, right click, reverse faces. And while I'm there, I might as well group it. And then if I click outside of it, you can see that we've got a nice foundation along with the footing.